What is popping, everybody? Bailey Strasser here, out in this snowstorm of a Wisconsin weather we're having. I didn't, obviously, because of being with family, I thought it was very important to hold off on my video, until after these two big holiday days that we had. Also, it kind of works out well to talk about next week as well. So, without what you're saying, subscribe below, comment your thoughts, let's get into the business. First off, we'll talk about the victory that the Packers had on Thanksgiving. The Packers defeated the Detroit Lions 31-24. It was a close game, but the Packers were able to deliver, and Matt LaFleur actually gave himself probably a fantastic performance. Now, I know there were a lot of things in this game that did kind of happen that were okay. The refs kind of awarded us some stuff I didn't really enjoy. But the thing was, the Packers kind of came through when they needed to. And I find it very important. Jordan Love delivered. Jordan Love came into Detroit and delivered. This is the third year in a row. Third year in a row that Packers have played on Thanksgiving. And we won all three of these games. Jordan Love came through with some great performances in all three of these games. And you got to give it to him. You got to give it to him. He is the MVP today. He gets the game ball. 18-30, 234, 4 touchdowns. Wasn't even sacked once. Josh Jacobs, 17 carries, 83 yards, a catch for 8. Dontavian Wicks, 6 catches, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Those are his first 2 touchdowns of the season. 4 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown for Christian Watson. A catch for 23 for Luke Musgrave. 4 catches for 20 for Romeo Doubs. And 2 catches for 9 for Chris Brooks. Not really much for anyone else. A couple almost fumbles, but thankfully the Packers were able to not. That was able to not be a thing. Isaiah McDuffie led the team with 12 tackles. Evan Williams had 9. Micah Parsons also had 8 tackles today, including 2.5 sacks and 3 tackles for loss. Xavier McKinney also with a pass defended. No turnovers in today's game. McManus only hit 1 field goal. And that's that. On the Detroit side, Jared Goff went 20 of 26 for 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a carry for 24 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs had 20 carries for 68 yards and 3 catches for 18. David Montgomery had 8 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown as 2 catches for 16 yards. Jameson Williams had 7 catches for 144 yards and a touchdown. Tom Kennedy 4 for 36. Isaac Tesla 2 for 35 and a touchdown. And really not much for anybody else. They already were missing Sam Laporta and Brock Wright, and they lost Amon-Ra St. Brown in this game as well. Brian Branch led the way with 10 tackles. Anzalone and Jack Campbell had 9 each. And their kicker, Jake Bates, only had 1 field goal today as well. The Packers did what they needed to do. They got the win, and we are currently undefeated in the division, which is great. We're 3-0. We beat the Detroit Lions both times. They're now 7-5. The Green Bay Packers are now 8-3-1. Obviously, I would say, of course, the Packers have the tiebreaker, but given that we have a tie now, there is no tiebreaker that even has to apply to divisionals. But the thing is, we did sweep Detroit for the first time since 2020. That is a big deal. That is a huge deal that we had. And the reason why we won this game was because of Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur actually gave a better, and the thing is, LaFleur outplayed Dan Campbell both times this year, and that's a shocker. But to be fair, I think deep down it was Ben Johnson for the reason why the Detroit Lions had success. Give it here. Detroit has a great offense with Gibbs, Montgomery at your running backs, and you've got some great people. They have a great offensive system, don't get me wrong. But Ben Johnson is what made that offense click. And now we have to face Ben Johnson next week. Obviously, I got to get to that because the Bears already played as well on Black Friday yesterday. And boy, the Bears ended up winning that game against the Eagles in Philly. It's time to start taking the Bears serious. They are now second. They are now they still obviously are in first place in this. And you got obviously the Packers would have to beat them twice in order for them to really have full blown whatever. Goodness gracious, it's crazy just to think about it, but yeah, this is crazy. The Bears are actually good. And it's not because I don't think their offense is similar to ours, you know? I think the Bears and the Packers are on another... I think the Bears definitely have the more talented players. Yes, we have, other than Micah Parsons, we have, but I think we're gonna get some tough matchups against the Bears. Do I think we're gonna beat the Bears? I don't know. I'm very questioning it, because given that they beat Philly, and I think Philly has been Philly, clear as day that Kellen Moore was a great offensive coordinator, given that he left and the new guy that took over for Philly is just nothing but awful. It's the same thing. You got to understand that when you got a guy in there, they did exactly what they need to do to the Bears. They have a good defense. They have the most takeaways in all the NFL. It's going to be hard, this is going to be tough. I know the good news is that this first game is in Lambeau Field, so you are going to likely get more Packers fans, but I unfortunately am going to say it's going to be 50-50. You're going to get half Bears, half Packers for this one. This is the first time the Bears have actually been good in some time. I know 2018 was a bit of a flex year, but this is the same exact situation as what they were dealing with Caleb Williams, and then he's going into his second year. This is the best I think I've seen the Bears in a long time. This is going to be hard. This isn't the Bears still suck anymore. We can't say that anywhere. The Bears technically swept us last year if it wasn't for Carl Brooks' block. This is different. We know that we have to play with our ability. Ben Johnson was the reason for the Lions' success, and it's clearly showing this year for Detroit. Because if the season ended, Detroit wouldn't even make the postseason, and quite frankly, I don't know if Detroit even will make the postseason. A lot can happen. The Packers, on the other hand, I still don't know if they're a postseason team either. They still have to... There's still 5 more games left to play. You got to place the Bears twice. You got to face the Broncos in Denver against that defense. You still got to face the Baltimore Ravens. And then you finish with Minnesota on the road, even though Minnesota's pretty much going to be out of the playoffs by that point. It's going to be, it'll be hard, but that's probably going to be a meaningless game. The Packers need to at least go 3-2 to finish out the season if they want to make the postseason. They have to do this. They know they have to. I don't want them to lose more than 3 games in this stretch, because if that's the case, it's going to be hard. But again, the Packers need to keep this momentum going. They got themselves some big wins in the last couple weeks. This is the big one. This is a big win. But I think the Bears are I think the Bears are up there. They are contenders this season. This is the first time I've ever said the Bears are Super Bowl contenders. I've never said that before. But if we want to beat teams like that, we got to be up in their noses, and we got to win. That's what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but I said it's going to come down to the Packers doing it themselves, as Fano says. But anyways, good win for the Packers. We got to play the Bears next week. We got a little time to rest up, I guess. But it's a home game. That's what's important. 325. Let's go, baby. If you like what you see, subscribe below, comment your thoughts, and as always, we will see you next time. Go, Pack, go.